landscape and the Nigerian structure. In the last couple of days, we've had the news of Nnamdi Kanu being extradited into the country. We've also had the news of Sunday Igboho's residence being attacked. We've had the PIB petroleum in the House of Representatives and also in the Senate back and forth. We've also had so many comments from personalities as well as distinguished Nigerians on the issues at hand. So joining me today in looking at some of these issues while we're going head to head to pick up some of these headlines while we deliberate on some of them is Mr. Oluku Matu, BNOC. Mr. Matu.
Thank you very much.
Good evening.
Thank you for having me.
Starting with the headlines, as at yesterday we had the case of Nnamdi Kanu being extradited into the country, and straightforward the federal government took him to the Federal High Court in Abuja, and the judge had to bring the case from October down to July 26 for fast hearing. Moving away from that, as at yesterday, the planned protest, the Yoruba Nation protest, which is supposed to hold on the 3rd of July, which is supposed to be 2 days from now, with the leader of that protest in person of Sunday Igboho, we heard that the identity of those who attacked the house has not been, his residence has not been disclosed yet, but there are speculations and counter speculations. But looking at the headlines in totality, what do you make of the system and what has characterized the Nigerian political landscape, starting with the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu?
Thank you very much. Looking at the case of Nnamdi Kanu and looking at what it portends for Nigerian future and the image, for me, Nigerian government may have achieved their aim of apprehending Nnamdi Kanu. But again, they have another responsibility to launder the image of the nation, because to a great extent, the image has been battered. But from what they can understand, it shows that probably he was arrested in Kenya and possibly brought to Nigeria. Looking at Nnamdi Kanu as a person, from all indication, he came into Kenya with British passports. So by our standard, as at the point he was arrested, he's deemed a British citizen. So if for any reason the Kenya government needed to have any issue with Nnamdi Kanu in terms of extraditing him to Nigeria or any other place for that matter, I think the right thing to do was to liaise and consult the British High Commission in their own country. Then it is consequent upon that they will argue the issue of extraditing him whether to Nigeria or not. It's a different ballgame whether Nigeria have an extradition treaty
with the British government.
No, with Kenya or not. But I can understand that Nigerian government has extradition treaty with British government. You now ask a question. According to the statement that is credited to the Minister of Information and Culture, the person of Mohammed, he said that they have been trailing Nnamdi Kanu since 2019.
The last 2 years, yes.
That he had been living a 5-star life.
Yes. Flying
on private charter jets, and that he wore designer clothes and all that.
Yes.
But the question is,
I was actually coming towards that area.
The question is this: we all know that the British government have good working relationship with Nigerian government. The question that now begs for answer is, what have been tying the hand of federal government? What have been deterring the federal government of Nigeria from approaching the British government, knowing that we have a extradition treaty with Britain?
Sorry, for viewers at home who want to join in the comment, and if you want your opinions to be heard as well, you can please call on the phone number 090-255-37142. Let me take that again, 090-255-37142. So, Mr. Matthew, we are talking about the extradition with the British.
Looking at the scenario, since Nigeria as a sovereign state has extradition treaty with Britain, and we all know that Nigeria and Britain, they are like father and son, and we would have not heard that there's any diplomatic row between the two countries. So on that basis, what stopped Nigerian government from approaching British government for the purpose of extraditing Nnamdi Kanu to Nigeria to face the prosecution? Now, Nnamdi Kanu have been moving freely in Britain, and Nigerian government never make the move
to arrest him in
Britain. What does that tell you? It tells you that, because I've just read a statement credited to the government of Nigeria when they wrote a letter to different countries trying to chronicle activities of IPOB that is the order that have been given to them by Nnamdi Kanu. Now, in that report or in that the news I read, it says that even the formation of ESN, one of the foreign countries was not on the same page with the Nigerian government. The foreign country was of the opinion that ESN was to address the insecurity in the southeast. What am I trying to say?
That is from a foreign nation.
What am I trying to say in essence? What I'm trying to say in essence is that perhaps explain the reason Nigerian government was not bold enough to approach the British government
to make
for purpose of extraditing him from
the official
Britain.
Way.
Because perhaps they know that Britain will not buy into it.
The idea, yes.
And again, don't forget that as at the time IPOB was declared a terrorist organization, both the Britain
gave IPOB members asylum.
Yes, both Britain, United States of America, even UN and EU, all of them unanimously disagree with Nigerian government position.
Yes.
That IPOB is a terrorist organization.
It's not a terrorist organization.
It is only even recently that British government came up with the idea of giving asylum to any IPOB member who perhaps is being politically persecuted in Nigeria.
Sorry, let me come in. Is it that the IPOB members internationally is getting more recognized and sympathy or acceptability compared to what happened within the Civil War era?
I think what is happening at the global level is Nnamdi Kanu was actually engaging diplomats. Because I read recently how he paid about 300 and something million US dollar to a lobbying firm to push for Biafra sovereignty.
Internationally.
So, internationally, even an American lobbying firm. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say in essence is the man was serious with the business of Biafra actualization.
Sorry, let me comment. Which means, is it wise for the government to have known that leaving him outside the shores of this country pose a dangerous threat than having him within the shores of the country? Because if, from what you just said, it simply means he was having his way in engaging in reasonable conviction of most of international allies where the government really cannot have those people convinced to their part.
Don't forget that Nnamdi Kanu attended a rally
for Donald Trump
during the election campaign.
Yes.
So at that level, he was already getting recognition globally. Don't forget that Nnamdi Kanu was given opportunity to address European Union General Assembly.
Yes.
Where he made a presentation. So he's already getting recognition at the global level. So that perhaps explain the reason Nigerian government want to arrest him and bring him to face the prosecution. From the word go, ab initio, personally, I have always condemned killing of policemen in Nigeria. I've always condemned burning of police infrastructure. I've always condemned burning of anarch infrastructure. But at the same time, IPOB and Nnamdi Kanu have consistently denied involvement and culpability in terms of those allegations. Though the government of Nigeria through Nigerian police have always consistently accused IPOB. So, but the issue is, how do you now draw a line? Now, Nnamdi Kanu is already in custody. How do you solve the problem of agitation? Does that mean the end of the agitation?
So, if I have to come in there, does it mean that arresting Nnamdi Kanu as the singular person within the midst of the IPOB agitation, will it send a signal? Because some people have argued that, Nnamdi Kanu is off the scene, it simply means the agitation might die a natural death. But the agitation actually have started before now.
To be quite honest with you, arresting Nnamdi Kanu would demoralize the struggle. There's no argument about that. But the demoralization is not going to be off forever. Because Nnamdi Kanu did not start the agitation. Ojukwu had his own era. Uwazurike had his own era.
So then Nnamdi Kanu spring up.
Took up the battle.
Is this a sign that more people, from the look of things, are even being energized, are having the mind to be more sympathetic, to believe more in the struggle for each time one of their key actors is being taken away from the scene.
The truth about it is this: until you fight it from the ideological point of view, you have not started in fighting it. Why am I saying so? Look at the trajectory of this fight for Biafra actualization. You understand that both the academia, the intellectuals, the technocrats, every walk of life, the egghead, you see them staking their head for this struggle. It tells you that it's a fight that people are genuinely signing on to.
Directly or indirectly.
Yes. So you as a sovereign state that Nigeria is, that do not want the country vulcanized, what do you do? What you do is you provide a platform for engagement.
But
I personally decided to go and listen to the last broadcast of Nnamdi Kanu before the October sit-at-home order. That is the first time I would listen to his broadcast. I discovered that if you look at the body language of what he was saying, it has to do with somebody who is ready and willing to engage the government if they provide a platform.
No, sorry, let me come in there. I was reading a write-up from, he's one of the Easterners based in US. He said, and I quote that, I think if I do my research, I'll get his full name. But it was a WhatsApp write-up. The young man categorically highlighted the origin of Nnamdi Kanu's agitation. So if you look critically at the agitation, they were not violent. They were pure protests and rallies, even up to the point he was arrested. So the young man now highlighted that it was the government's mishandling of the situation of the Southeast that escalated to the creation of the ESN.
I was coming to that point.
Okay, go on.
Because you see, like what you just mentioned now, ab initio, when Nnamdi Kanu was arrested, there was tension, and the tension, to be quite honest with you, until the Nnamdi Kanu's first arrest,
nobody knew him.
I didn't know Nnamdi Kanu. It was after that first arrest I knew that there's somebody called Nnamdi Kanu. Now, the man was kept in detention and a process of prosecution started. At a point, he was granted bail. Where the government erred, they would have allowed him enjoy the bail. So if you see all the crises that accumulated the struggle, it was when the federal government refused to
grant him bail,
to allow him enjoy the bail.
So just like that of
granted by granted by the courts. Then subsequently, he was released. And when he was released, I quite agreed he was breaching the tenants or the bail conditions. The bail conditions. Because part of the bail conditions say that he must not be seen in gathering of more than 10% and some other. I think he must not travel out of his immediate locality, yes, and he should not be seen among 10 people. But I quite agreed he was violating most of those.
Let me come in. Some has argued that even his close family members alone is more than 10.
But from what we can understand, because he was moving from state to state, from local government to local government in a non-violent manner, drumming support for Biafra agitation,
which probably
and
would have
doing
been
consultation. Now, what do we witness? A military genocidal invasion in his Afaruku home in Abia State. So that necessitated his fleeing the country. Now the government said he jumped bail. I'm not speaking for him anyway. But what I'm trying to say in essence is the government handling of the situation escalated it. Because the government had an opportunity to provide a platform for negotiation. Just as a military GOC will tell Boko Haram that they will be willing and ready to have them on the negotiating table.
After some have been granted amnesty.
I quite agree with you. So what am I trying to say? The government approach to handling the issue is the reason we are seeing this crisis. Otherwise, if, like now, he's been arrested, I've not seen protests in any state in Nigeria. But hopefully by tomorrow, perhaps he's granted bail. What the guarantee that Nigerian government will allow him enjoy the bail? The way it stands now, his lawyer, Ejiofor, have written to DSS to have access to him for purpose of interfacing with him. He said he have not been granted the access, or rather he have not gotten response from DSS. Now, don't forget that in Nigerian Constitution, the Constitution do not leave anyone in doubt about the intention of Section 35, subsection 6 of 1999 Constitution as amended, that you are innocent until proven
Proving
otherwise.
guilty, yes, by confidence.
So until the court proves that he's guilty of the offense has been charged,
he should have access to his lawyer.
He should have access to his lawyers, and he should still enjoy that dignity of human being
until proven
as accorded to him by the Constitution. But we are here to know his state of health, his mental status, whether he has been subjected to mental torture, or bodily harm, and all that. Until they allow his lawyer access to him, we cannot speak on that.
Now, looking at all this, because I was quite worried when I saw the government handling of Nnamdi's Kanu case, and with a group of friends, I told them, I said, see, the Nigerian government only have one way of approaching things that ordinarily should have been solved using dialogue. If you check how we've handled most of the issues from 1960 down, they go violent. They want to curtail, just like what they did to NSAS. Now, it will get to a stage, because I'm sure they can't do that to Shekau, because they've been able to use the use of arms, bombs, explosive as the tenets at which the Nigerian government wants them to negotiate on. And the army haven't exhaust all calculative means, had to start begging. In the process of handling someone that has not gotten to that stage of radicality, and the same nation is negotiating with somebody who is a group of people who is threatening the territorial integrity consistently for over a decade without even giving an eyelid of negotiation. What message is being sent to IPOB and Sunday Igboho, even to the Middle Belt and even to the Niger Delta? I'm asking you, what message do you think every other group is learning?
You see, we have always said it. A government that operates on double standard will always polarize the nation. But unfortunately, it doesn't matter how you look at it. Every ethnic group in Nigeria, the way it stands, do not want to associate with Fulani because of the way the government have piloted the affairs of governance. Now, it looks as if I want to digress, but let me just bring something to your notice. Federal government recently said they want to review 1978 Land Use Act.
1964.
No, 1978.
78.
Land Use Act.
Okay, Land Use Act.
Now, the same federal government that is always
that was
quick.
After they said they wanted the promulgation of 1964.
Yes. The same government that was always quick to remind proponents of restructuring to go to National Assembly, which has a mandate of constitutional amendment, is now want to unilaterally review that act.
Sorry.
What does that tell you? Double standard.
So sorry, let me come in. The same government that cannot go back and pick the 1963 constitution that talks about regional government to implement the structural agitation is smart enough to go and pick the 1964 promulgation of a region which was.
But do you know the reason? The reason is not far-fetched. Because if you look at the idea of federal government in trying to create grazing routes and grazing reserve
for some people.
Now, since they have been reminded that grazing reserve and grazing route never existed in the context of Nigerian constitution, they now want to go back by way of having leverage from the constitution, so that by the time you are now amending, because what they said is that they want to remove areas that is standing as impediment to development from that act. So the intention is that by the time they now arrogate power to Nigerian federal government of Nigeria, as to who allocate land,
it will be a federal.
They will not have the legal right to decide which land should be used for ranching, which land should be used for open grazing routes, grazing reserve, and all that.
Maybe we'll bring a lawyer to start deliberating on that, because I know it will be a cumbersome process for you to engage in reform. You need the National Assembly. So, and the reform it will be a combined house. It will pass through first reading, the second reading, the third reading, the committee stage. So it will be a hot debate. I'm trying to see how they will survive that, because they do
not even have the intention of going to National Assembly to review it.
Okay.
They want to unilaterally, as executive arm of the government. That is what everybody is reminding them, that they should go to National Assembly.
No, the government, the executive arm cannot, as stipulated in the Constitution 1999, cannot have the unilateral right to.
But that is what they intend doing.
No, they can say it. It's okay. I mean, but I don't think they have that power. I've not read the Constitution to.
No, they do not have the power.
Yes.
And almost every stakeholder have now reminded them that they should refer them to.
Just like the way they said the restructuring should be referred.
Well, however I look at it,
it's restructuring.
However I look at it, after you have the concurrence of the Senate and the House of Rep, you need to take majority from the state House of Assembly.
So you cannot get 17 states in the south and the middle belt.
You can't get.
So moving away from that, the statement credited to Sunday Igboho suspend Lagos Yoruba rally, and a related statement also came up from one of the news headlines. Mood at Sunday following midnight attack. So what do you think about the suspension? Probably might have been the aim of those who attacked the residents. So that at least when they attack, you're scared, suspend. I mean,
you see, like we are always asserted that the government, they are penchant for mischief and crisis. Because ordinarily we have seen a Sunday Igboho conducted rally in
Ekiti.
Ondo, Ekiti, Osun, that was relatively peaceful under the supervision of DSS
the
and
police was there. Yes.
So if we agree
in 5 states
that there is, of course, the constitution leave no one in doubt that we have freedom of movement, freedom of expression, yes, and all that. So if the man who is conducting rally have done it successfully, peacefully in some states, and he has a right under a UN charter of self-determination, and what he's talking about is self-determination. So why should a government agency, though it is not clear yet whether it's the police, the army, the DSS, nobody have come up to say claim responsibility
of the attack?
Yes, but however I look at it, why should if it is not the DSS, it's not the police, it's not the army, has the government taken any concrete step to investigate and arrest the perpetrators?
And this is not the first time Sunday Igboho's residents will be attacked.
So to that extent, I think the government is already mishandling this issue of Yoruba agitation. The same way they mismanage this eastern part of it.
Are you surprised with the action of this current government?
I'm not surprised. Like I say they have penchant for mischief and crisis. And if you look at it, it is even a recipe for anarchy. Because if the man who have right to do rally peacefully for self-determination is doing it, you now infringe into his own right, because the right that the same constitution that give you right to be president, that give you right as the army to defend the sovereignty and integrity of the state against foreign aggression. The same right that give the police the right to protect life and property gives that man and the other people who are propagating Yoruba nation the same right of peaceful protest. You now use your instrumentality of force to inflict attack and injury on the leader.
Let me quickly call the phone numbers again for viewers who want to join us in the conversation. For those who want to join us in the conversation, you can please call 090-255-37142. 090-255-3742. Now, if you look at the headline of, I think, Punch newspaper, from the excerpt I read, in trying to get in touch with the spokesperson of the DSS, in asking if it was actually the DSS that invaded the house of Sunday Igboho or not, the DSS never said they were the one or they were not the one. So that now brings into an open-ended question. The Nigerian security architecture, we know the police, the army, the DSS, if they are not involved in a particular case and you mention them, what do? They
deny.
They come openly and attack you instantly and tell you that no, we are not even there. How would you? But in this case, the spokesperson of the DSS did not reply to the journalist that interviewed him or her. That
Peter Fulani.
Yeah. So now that brings to the question: why is the security? The police has not said anything. The DSS has not said anything. We've not heard from the army. Everybody is silent. Is there more to this? Now the question is: if Sunday Igboho have offended the government or has done anything against the law, the right thing to do is to charge him to court.
Of course.
So why the attack? That's where another question comes.
That is still boiled down to wrong approach to issues. It's still boiled down to mishandling of all the similar issues we are seeing in this country. even as bad as Boko Haram. When Boko Haram started, Yusuf that was the leader was leading from the regular society, not from forest. So you see that high-handedness of Nigerian government did not start from this government. Nigerian government have always had that history of human rights violation.
I think there's a question from. You will go back to that.
Okay.
I think Olani Ibukola. Are you saying it is wrong for the government to perceive somebody as a threat to peaceful coexistence of a nation? That was a question he asked.
What is the name?
Olani Ibukola from one of our live chats.
Olani
Ibukola.
We are not saying it is wrong for government to perceive anybody as a threat. What we are saying that it is wrong for the government to infringe on the right of anybody. Just as we acknowledge that as Nnamdi Kanu have been arrested, that due process should be following his prosecution. What we are saying that in the case of Sunday Igboho, who have right for self-determination, and that if you know he have violated any known law, he should be charged to court. Not invading his house at the middle of the night, as we are hearing now. There's allegation that about 2 persons have been killed. Properties destroyed. I don't know whether you will see it as a normal way of doing things. Having somebody's house invaded at the middle of the night, people being killed, rather than apprehending that person and charging that person to court, you have prima facie case against such person. So I don't know whether your take is that the government should be infringing on the right of people's rights.
No, in fact, the terminology said, are you saying it is wrong for government to perceive? A perception is an assumption.
Perception, you can. The issue is, if you look at how American system work, for instance.
No, it's the same client.
No, I'm coming. Look at when these cyber crime suspects, that Nigerian.
Yeah, Mutalab.
No, apart from Mutalab, the other cyber crime suspects. Hush Puppy.
Yes.
You see that they took time.
They gathered
their information. So that once they confront you with the evidence, it will be overwhelming that you own up. I want to remember that one. Look at when Iboli was tried in Nigeria.
And
he was discharged and acquitted. But in UK, with overwhelming evidence, he owned up to the crime. So what we are saying is, it is not wrong to perceive somebody to be a threat. But what do you do when you perceive somebody to be a threat? You gather your information. You do your investigation. So that once you confront the person with information, the person will own up and you do your prosecution.
Yeah, I think, he came up with another question. Who said they were the security agencies of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Sunday should gather evidence that the security of the country so can you win
now,
the security agency?
No, the issue is
the
issue is this.
Okay.
If you have listened to our argument here, we have not specifically said that it is the government agency that carry out the attack. And we have said that if it is not the government agency, as a responsible government,
it
behoves on them to even before now start investigation and bring the perpetrators to justice.
You don't say somebody should.
I don't know where you stand anyway.
Yes, it's okay. I understand some questions where they come. How would you say the personal individual should go and gather evidence against the government who holds the monopoly of investigation? You control the security, you control the DSS. So you are saying
the federal government is denying that.
So where would they start from?
Agents are not the one that carry the attack. What are they doing? Does it not behave on them to protect life and
properties? So where were they?
Is Sunday Igboho not a Nigerian? So I don't know.
Okay, so as we were saying, looking at the headlines in totality, from Nnamdi Kanu, Southeasterner, alleged of from the federal is an allegation, killing and so many other allegations. Governor of Benue State, in person of Governor Samuel Otom, said Nnamdi Kanu arrest puts same zeal in arrest of killer herdsmen. So does that not send a signal that some people just see this as a cosmetic approach that does not have meaning?
You see
that channel energy to somebody who has committed a lesser crime because he's from another part of the country. And there's no amnesty for that person because he's from another part of the country. But you can be so smart in going overseas to be monitoring another person who have committed lesser crime or probably a crime that is not as worse as that of Boko Haram and bring him back. Yet, IPOB has been declared terrorist organization. Herdsmen has killed, cut across different ethnic groups than IPOB, but yet they've not been declared as terrorist organization. So Autumn is now coming from that perspective. Autumn is from the North Central.
Yes.
That put the same energy if you read the statement which I read before we came into the studio, Autumn categorically said, put the same zeal and energy you used in arresting Nnamdi Kanu to the killer S-men that have also killed both civilians and including police. At a point, S-men, was it S-men that shot one of the airplane of, is it Air Force or so? Put the same energy in arresting the S-men. What do you see in that statement?
The truth is this. Look at how do the world see herdsmen? Global terrorism desks say that the herdsmen are fourth most dangerous terrorist organization in the world. And we have never seen the federal government of Nigeria seeing herdsmen from that perspective. I'm not saying federal government should not come hard on any person that is threatening the sovereignty and integrity of Nigeria by way of violence. What I'm saying is, on all the activities of herdsmen.
No, I'll come back to that comment. Just go.
In all the activities of herdsmen, from the southwest to the south-south to the southeast to the north-central,
even to the northeast.
In fact, generally speaking, I've not seen that effort of federal government or that sincerity from federal government to even declare herdsmen
the terrorist organization. But international organizations have done that.
Globally, herdsmen are seen as terrorists. It tells you that there is something fundamentally wrong with our government. It tells you that this government is operating on a double standard. I look at all the intention of federal government in trying to mitigate the crisis between host communities and herdsmen. It has always been, how do they pacify the herdsmen? How do they settle the herdsmen? Even from the commonwealth of the nation. Look at Ruga. Look at water resources bill. Look at livestock transformation plan. And now look at the attempt of the federal government to review land use acts. So, and federal government has always absorbed herdsmen of culpability each time there's allegation against them. We've even seen instances where even the presidential spokesman will even come out to act as if he's speaking for herdsmen.
Yeah, no, it's a Fulani administration from what.
So what I'm saying, the government is even the one fueling the crisis in Nigeria by way of their complacency. Because why can, if you see the nature of Nigeria, the way it stands today, almost every area in this country, nobody is willing and ready to accommodate the Fulani herdsmen.
But sorry, looking at that in terms of the herdsmen, except there's more to it, just like I've said in some of the platforms I've been able to talk. The standard grazing route, standard grazing practice in developed world, Sena climbs, where you can check of India having over 305 million cows, the first 20 countries with the highest numbers of cattle, cows, production of milk, hides and skin. Nigeria is not even among. They don't do open grazing. So they rhyme.
There's no law in Nigeria that even permit open grazing.
For me personally, I believe there is more to open grazing and the agitation of Fulani than any other thing.
The problem is this. The issue is this. If you look at the position of the government, even Ganduje, who is the governor of Kano State, have said it, that part of the panacea to solve the problem is to stop the mass exodus of herders from neighboring African countries.
Yes.
Even Mr. President have acknowledged, alluded to it far recently, that these herders who bear sophisticated weapons come from other
but that statement is a two-faced statement, Mr. Matthew. Don't worry, finish.
That they come from other countries. But what I was saying is, whether they come from Libya, Mali, Burkina Faso, they are Fulani herdsmen, and they infiltrate and mingle with the resident herders
of the country.
So whose responsibility is it to identify
who is who?
The illegal immigrants.
It's the government
who come into the borders for grazing.
Because the government controls the border.
Whose responsibility is it to stop somebody who is coming into Nigeria with AK-47? Is it the host communities who are at the receiving end of the high-handedness, illegality, brutality of these herders? So the issue is the federal government have a lot to do. to sanitize the system of Nigeria.
Now, moving away from that, you see, there are comments that...
No, that reminds me.
Okay.
There's not an assertion I made you wanted to bring back to my
Yes,
notice.
you said...
when I said that the government of Nigeria can come hard on any person that is threatening the sovereignty
platform, I want to learn that dialogue or objective conversations come to the table with the Nigerian government.
That is where...
the time that recommendation came up from a government, federal government instituted a committee, an inquiry board. It came out 12 years ago. 12 before last year, which was 20 that the answer 12 years ago, without there being violence and the people to that stage. Do you see the Nigerian government doing the right thing?
Do you know the unfortunate situation we find ourselves in Nigeria? The government perhaps do not act until they are pushed to the wall, and the government do not recognize you until you have a potent force to challenge the sovereignty of the country, and it's unfortunate. We have seen how the government sent high-power delegation to interface with Tompolo recently, when Tompolo think that the government should constitute the board of substantive board of NDDC,
yes,
which is the right thing to do anyway. But should it take Nigerian government to listen only when somebody that has what it takes to...
No, maybe because Tompolo have gun boots or some...
No, because perhaps they know
the capacity of the danger is...
He can engage them to a reasonable extent. So what I'm trying to say is, a reasonable government will listen to the citizens. When issues are raised, especially when it comes to extrajudicial killing, human rights violation of your own citizens. In a safe society, the police, the army, the navy, the DSS know that they are being paid through the taxpayers' money. So how can you not turn your gun against your employer? And the same employer will complaining to the government will pretend as if nothing is happening. We have seen instances where even Amnesty International will indict Nigerian army, Nigerian police, Nigerian DSS.
The governments will still deny.
Instead of Nigerian government doing the needful by bringing an investigation and bringing the culprit to justice, they will tag Amnesty International a partisan organization.
That now reminds me. 2 days ago, there was a report. 3 days ago, George Lloyd Floyd. In respect to his death. The police officer, the cop, was sentenced to about 22 years in prison.
You are correct.
Similar scenario, the Lekki massacre.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you?
That were killed on that toll gate, if we have to be factual, is more than not one, not two.
There is a report that says 98 persons.
Okay, the one you talked about, Falana.
Yes. The one I said at the chief coroner of Lagos on the 20th of October 2020.
So, can you really blame people?
Made a public announcement
in this part of the world if they want to engage the government head to head, knowing that is the only means they have?
What I'm trying to say is, it was Falana that discovered that it was 98 corpses were dumped in different mortuaries in Lagos, consequent upon the announcement made by the chief coroner of Lagos.
Let me call the phone numbers again. For those who want to join in the conversation, because we're almost rounding up, 09025537142, 09025537142.
So, if you look at the sentence of that police that killed John Floyd, what does that tell you? It tells you that, because from all indication, we know that prosecution law is meant for deterrent. If somebody commits a crime, is tried, convicted,
it will deter
other people from committing that same crime. So in America, for instance, the policeman who have seen what transpired, the judgment
will be cautious enough.
Yes.
In terms of operation.
He will not.
But in Nigeria, what happened?
In Nigeria, the reverse is the case. We are even seeing worse. Look at 3 policemen that were killed in Taraba State, that were in their line of legitimate duty
by
to
the
arrest
Inspector General
Wadume,
police,
who was a kidnapped kingpin. How they were summarily killed under the supervision of a Nigerian military captain. Even as the Nigerian government ordered the former chief of defense staff to institute a panel of inquiry that have indicted the particular captain and 9 other soldiers. Have we seen any meaningful prosecution in that regard? Only for the Attorney General of Federation and Minister of Justice, Professor Malami, who took over the case, to claim that the military high command refused to surrender the captain and the other soldiers for prosecution.
So meaning the military high command is bigger than the Attorney General.
The same Attorney General, the same Malami that wrote a memo that saw Magu, Almighty Magu,
out of his
office, cannot write another memo to demand for the prosecution of the captain and the other soldiers who are alleged to be involved in the killing.
Sorry, let me not come. In terms of evaluation of Magu's rank to the captain, Magu's rank in the army would be equivalent to the rank of a colonel.
Of course.
So, but the Attorney General can write as the one that shoots him, probably for his interest and maybe the political alignment for whatever reason, parochial traditional system that we operate. Then at the same time, we'll decide the one that he probably feels there's no point to write about. So you now see a system. That's why when I was reading the comment that Sunday Igboho should go and report to which station, to police station. The question is, which station? Which police station? In this country or in another clime? Maybe in the US, not in Nigeria.
And even the way it stands, neither the police, the army, the DSS has come out to claim responsibility.
Definitely.
And no government agency have made conscious effort, if they say they are not the one, to even investigate and bring the culprits to justice.
So which station is it going to declare? Because I was reading a very funny comment and like, which station is it going to declare? So Mr. Matthew, looking at all of this, where is Nigerian heading to?
Don't forget that only recently.
No, sorry, I'm not talking about, when you are in so I know you're a man of God, you would give people hope. I'm a political scientist. We work with realism and idealism. You can picture a realist school of thought. Realism look at the real picture. Idealism look at the ideas, how a futuristic, maybe based on hope or some other factors, faith. So I know you are a man of God, but we're looking at the picture. In church, I don't say this. I say this on a political analysis. From what you've been doing in the past, with what you're doing in the present, is the future bright? Realistically. Now we'll come to the aspect.
Are you saying I should speak from the point of
realism, reality?
Okay.
Yes.
And from the point of
spiritual. No, you will come to that. As a pastor, so you will say that. But looking at the realistic point of view, because it is our current action that will determine what we will get. Before now, the Yoruba people or the Yoruba nation were never agitators of a separate entity to this state. The North Central were not really agitating as of what we have. We know the Biafran have a clear position to the agitation. But looking at what we have, the level of insecurity, governmental action, fraud. The other day it was the Chidinma case with the Super TV, drug, cut across the country. Where are we heading to? To me,
realistically speaking, Nigeria is already sliding into a failed state.
Okay.
Don't forget that only recently the former American ambassador to Nigeria, the person of John Campbell, wrote an article where he said Nigeria is becoming a failed state. He even wrote officially to American government to recognize Nigeria as a failed state. And if you look at the activities that is happening in Nigeria, it is tending towards that status. And if government is even the one fueling the situation, because when you see a government that is promoting anarchy, what does that tell you? We saw how Nigerian security agencies invaded Lekki toll gate. We saw what transpired. Though nobody has come out to claim responsibility in the attack against Sunday Igboho's house. But if eventually it turns out to be Nigerian security agencies, what signal are you sending?
No, from the report on, I think, Vanguard newspaper, specific Vanguard, the source that the interview the Vanguard journalist was speaking with spoke on the condition of animosity. I mean, does not want to disclose his identity. Happened to be a security operative.
I quite agree, but it is difficult to say.
Yeah, that's what. No. In this kind of
authoritative.
Yes, because considering the kind of case, so that they won't hold him for the job, you can't pull away the security agency playing this role as usual.
They may have played the role, but until they own up to the responsibility, one cannot authoritatively say
they are the one. Yes, it's true.
So I'm speaking from that angle. But generally speaking, Even if it was not the police or any of the federal government security agencies, what have they done to investigate and arrest perpetrators? So it is a recipe for crisis. If you look at the way and manner across board, Nigerian police have been handling Nigerians. They see the police as an opposition to the people. They do not see police do not see police as people who are saddled with the responsibility of protecting life and property. And that is why even the society now see police as an enemy. That's why it's difficult to have confidence. I think a lot have to be done with respect to building confidence so that the citizen will have...
Sorry, who will do that?
The government.
The government?
Yes.
This government?
We have national orientation.
This orientation?
Yes.
What have they been
oriented? You see, there are so many areas where the government is not doing the needful. Why is the government not deploying the traditional rulers, religious leaders, who have more authority over the people? But what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say in essence is, looking at the realistic situation of Nigeria, the truth is that if this tide is not arrested, if the trend is not arrested, Nigeria is sliding into anarchy.
Okay, Nigeria is sliding into anarchy according to Mr. Matthew. But left for me, I think Nigeria is in a state of nature. We are in an anarchical state where people do not trust the institutional framework to freely go and report cases that are just mere civil cases in the police station. We've had cases people come back from overseas, stayed in police station, they were rather robbed by the police themselves. So people find it difficult to even sleep in station. They would rather sleep in garage.
Of course, that confidence is not there.
So, I mean, how do you define a state of nature, an anarchical state, a failed state? Other than that, we've had cases that merely involved people that are supposed to be mere civil case where police is supposed to use the best professional antics to solve problem, but rather it gets escalated. So what do you see in those kind of scenario? In the process of agitating for NSAS, police were still killing in the midst of the NSAS.
And do you know the funny part of it? Look at the demand of promoters of NSAS.
It was majorly in favor of the police.
They were talking about the welfare of the police. They were talking about the salary of the police. For that to have a sound mental status. And the same police that their welfare is a cardinal agenda in the NSAS agitation. We are the same people turning the gun against the protesters.
So do you see us moving anywhere, Mr. Matthew?
I think another issue is Nigerian police. Go and look at the ethics of police. Almost all we are saying, it is part of mandate. They have it as part of their training guideline. But the question is, why is it that they don't normally apply it? So I think the Nigerian police, there is need for constant retraining, orientation, reorientation, and all that.
So you mentioned the NOA, National Orientation Agency. Has that agency been functional?
If it's not functional, they can reactivate it to become functional.
Now, in concluding the Pundit this evening, the National Orientation Agency, if you look at their operation, seems to be docile. They are not functional, to me, personal opinion. Now, the National Orientation Agency needs an orientation itself. No, seriously, that's what I feel.
But even when we give them that orientation, yes, they will not be activated.
Yes, because if you check the list of social vices, from smoking, drinking, insecurity, what the youth tend to engage with, is becoming alarming than ever before.
I agree with you, because if they are addressed from the basis before it gets to the crisis state,
it's easier.
Yes, that is because if the child who will grow up to become a potential drug addict, who will go and start taking narcotic, if you get the right orientation from the cradle, he would have known the implication. Perhaps he will not indulge in it.
Yes, that's one. Now, the national orientation is.
And what I'm saying is part of the job of the National Orientation Agency.
That's what I'm saying. That the national orientation needs an orientation.
I agree with
first.
you. I agree with
now,
you.
the second part is the national orientation needs to give orientation to the political class. Because
after they are their own fair share of
they are the worst of the oriented people that we should get. You see a vice president. You see, the burden of proof and the burden of performance rests more on a professor of law and a pastor than any other person in this administration. To me, that's how I see it. Even if the office won't allow you work, you can leave the office and hold your integrity. You can talk on some things even if the system won't allow you to do it. Professor Sage is in this administration. He has been talking fire and brimstone. Yes, he says that. Talking against the powers that be. Though in the administration, but there are some things he has.
But he has claimed that his position is just advisory.
Yes, which is true. He has no executive power to implement anything. So, but if you check his body language and his statement on some issues, he has always supported. He has not supported the government on so many issues. He has not. If you check his write-up, and even he spoke recently on what's his name on Yaya Bello. He says I hold a contrary opinion. So when you check some of the corruption cases, he comes out openly to go, because if you read, I have one of his books. He's a lawyer. Just like Femi, Vice President Oshibaju, most of what he Oshibaju is keeping quiet before he became the vice president. So that's why some of us have antagonized, like these people are just double standard, double faced people, and we can't have them.
I think the reason is not far-fetched, because if you look at Nigerian constitution, it arrogates so much power
to the president.
No,
but he was aware before. No, he was aware before he picked the ticket.
From that,
he was aware. He was not blindfolded by that.
He may equally want to keep his job.
Which is the job? He was only saying that because he had no job.
Perhaps.
So now he's there is to keep his job and allow what he said to even worse under his administration.
But I believe that if Osinbajo were to be the substantive president of Nigeria, he would have governed differently.
That is.
You know the reason I'm saying so. I've seen instances where he holds sway. I've seen how he handled some issues.
When the president was not in the country.
Of course.
Yes. But
I've seen how he went to Niger Delta to dash tension by way of negotiation, interfacing with.
And maybe he was just doing.
I've seen how he superintended over the firing and sacking of the former director of DSS.
Yes.
When there was a DSS invasion in the National Assembly.
Yes, it's true.
So I think this current Mr. President would have handled it differently if he were to be in the saddle as at that material time.
Definitely.
So I think if Osinbajo was given the room to operate, he would have handled all these issues differently.
But the
way the constitution puts it, he is at the mercy of the president, because he only takes responsibility that has been assigned to him by the president.
Now, the statement that really got me laughing was, he's always making me laugh anyway, the statement credited to Minister of Jet. How has that gotten to do with the common man?
Kanu may have been traveling in chartered private jets. Kanu may be wearing designer clothes. It's not an issue. The issue is where he violated the law, where he erred, or whether did he err. Those are the issues
that the minister of,
because nobody accused him of robbery, nobody accused him of stealing, nobody accused him of fraud, illicit wealth. So I don't think his lifestyle is an issue.
No, I'm even wondering why this kind.
I'm even surprised that the honorable minister is diving into his personal life. I don't think that is.
No, I'm surprised that this kind of story even made the headlines.
Because they want to sell.
Okay, the media agency that captured want to sell. Because I read the story, there was nothing, and that was all.
Because it's his personal lifestyle.
So how has that?
And we have gotten the money to live that lifestyle. Was
the Minister of Information and Culture supposed to go to the extent of looking at the clothes people wear?
I said it is. Those things are immaterial.
Have you ever seen any minister in the US that come up to the press? I don't know.
Those things are immaterial. The pertinent questions or the paramount issues should be where they think
he has fought against the Nigerian.
They should know that the judiciary is the arbiter. The government is one laying accusation. And there's an extent to which they as executive will speak, because you cannot be a judge in your own case. So when he was already talking about they will allow him fair hearing, and he was trying to allude to the fact that even in the first instance that cannot have fair hearing, we have always had that apprehension and fear about the executive allowing the judiciary arm to operate freely in Nigeria. And it's unfortunate because the other time witnessed how DSS invaded the homes of some judges.
Yes.
So that in itself is putting fear, apprehension in the judiciary. So what is the guarantee that the judiciary will?
So we should have. Okay, I don't want to go. He's still in court.
So like you said, the case is in court. Nobody wants to prejudice the outcome of the case. We'll
keep it in mind.
We allow the court to do.
Some people wrote the judgment of some cases in Jota, so they kept it somewhere. They don't say it in public.
No.
So at the end of the day, what they did, a journalist actually did. They wrote it like from the action of what is going on.
No, the truth is, any statement one makes with respect to this issue pending in court will be deemed prejudice.
Yes.
So
true.
Nobody is permitted to. But the only thing one can say is that the man who is accused have right of fair hearing. The man who is accused is deemed innocent until proven otherwise.
Yes.
And that the Nigerian government should be guided by the tenets of the Constitution, especially Section 35, Section 6 of 1999 Constitution as amended, that says that leaves no one in doubt that anyone that is accused is innocent until proven otherwise by the court of competent jurisdiction. Okay. So on that note, we are saying that let the courts be given free hand to operate.
Okay, Mr. Matthew. Any final words before we leave today?
My final word is this: that the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria should allow the freedom of speech, should allow the freedom of movement, should stop infringing into the right of Nigerians, should know the right time to engage the people, should not wait until a situation gets out of hand before arresting it. That they should know that negotiation is better than allowing people to come into the people through violence. And again, that the government should give the judiciary arm of government freedom to operate. That intimidating the judiciary is not the way to go. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Matthew. And to those who probably happen to be within the political allies or have a position of influence one way or the other, it is paramount to state that when you read through the historical fact of countries of the world, that we are at a point together and at a point decided to split. The splitting of such countries do not start one day. Sometimes it's as a result of governmental actions and inactions, consciously or subconsciously. For those who are in the seat of power today, remember one thing is sacred. You can never be there forever. And power is never permanent. Do the right thing. Check global best practices, how they involve people, nations of the world, how they involve their citizens in constructive argument, in constructive dialogue, in looking for ways forward. In as much as we don't condone anybody who might have acted against the territorial integrity of Nigeria, it is also paramount to state categorically that the governmental actions have not been able to solve most of the problems and the myriad of problems confronting the Nigerian state. And as such, from the herdsmen to the kidnapping, to the banditry, to the Boko Haram, we cannot have another set of agitation that might be going draconian, since people have seen that the only way governments listen to them is when they go violent, just like the Boko Haram is a living example. And I don't think this current administration or the government of Nigeria have the security apparatus to solve another kind of uprising in another part of the country. So we're begging and we're pleading to whoever is in power, and for the allies, the political allies that decide to not to speak up, continue. One day we will solve this one way or the other. Till we meet again tomorrow, have a wonderful day. My name is Samuel. With me is Mr. Oluku Bienuse Matthew.
Thank you very much. Once more, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Bye.